Okay, welcome everyone to another Integration Quest study group. We're here to learn, we're here to have fun. Today's event, as I had already mentioned to the team earlier, is that it's going to be a little bit different than our normal platform in that, of course, it's going to be hands-on keyboard, but we've kind of got a tight agenda on this one. It is to really help you to learn how to use the new process. This is a new process to utilize to automatically create the tags and the details for an API specification that's published to Exchange through Anypoint Code Builder. And then also will automatically create the availability for this API to be in the API catalog and automatically creating the topic for this particular, for an agent to use. So it's going to auto-populate the topic and also tag it for the API catalog. So the newest, delivery on this. And so some of you are maybe learning because you're a developer, some of you may be instructors, and some of you may be meetup leaders, because you will find that this is going to be presented not only at some of the upcoming workshops. I know it's queued up for Montreal Dreamin' that's coming up, and it's also queued up for many of the meetup groups, because as meetup leaders, our community leaders have asked us to do this delivery. So that's another reason I'm doing it here. Our normal study groups are about an hour long. We kind of keep them a little short, but this one is going to run longer. Unless we hit a brick wall and something doesn't work, then we may go ahead and pause and redo it at our next one or do another event. But regardless, if you're not a member of the study group, you are now, so that you are part of this. You'll be notified of any other events. We do them every 2 weeks generally, unless something changes in regards to that. And yes, it is getting recorded. Yes, the recording is on. All right, so I'm going to go off camera during this time in just a second. I need to do an announcement first, so bear with me. I am bursting with excitement. Well, first I have to do housekeeping. Okay, so we have a code first, and the code of conduct is such that if to behave in these study groups, we've not really had too much trouble with it. No, we've not had too much trouble recently, but there was an incident that there were some odd things that occurred. And so we just always want to be aware that if your mom and dad said not to do it, then just don't do it. Okay. So everyone behave. Anyway, nonetheless, on to our next slide here. A little bit about me. I'm an instructor, as many of you know. I am also a co-founder with Ryan on Integration Quest. It's been a great journey, and we continue to do so. We're offering more public classes that are customized, and really we have an opportunity. We have one running right now. If you want to scope that out on integration.quest, you can check that out. And more to come. We're about to announce an architect class where we've got some exciting things happening there. So Ryan, you want to share just a little bit about that as far as announcements are concerned for Integration Quest? Let me jump to this slide here.
You're gonna watch our website. We are going to be announcing shortly a group. We want to see what people are interested in learning, but we're launching a series of public classes. We're in the middle of the first one now, which is professional integration, and we are having a lot of fun with healthcare data and vital signs and ambulance integrations, and we just did some CI/CD in that one. But we're looking at a bunch of different classes that we aren't sure how many people want. So we're going to post them on our website and post announcements, and we'd love for you to at least to sign up for the wait list to tell us which ones you're interested in possibly learning.
Yeah. And the neat thing is we're here to customize your education experience. We want to know what works for you, what works for your team. I do a lot of coaching and offset time so that it's not during business hours. And, so we're here to make it happen for you. But the exciting thing I wanted to announce for you all is on this slide. I co-authored a book with Pooja Kamal, and we have written our building integrations with MuleSoft. And Integration Quest is on our mentioned in here too. And I got one of the first printed books there. So we'll be doing some promotional things. If you achieve a goal or do something, we'll be doing some promotional things there. So we're super excited about that to be out. So while I was in New York at World Tour, my husband says, "Hey, you got a box of books here." And he was teasing, "Why are you buying more books?" Because he knows I love to buy books. And I said, "What's the title of them?" And he told me what it was. So I was like, "Yay, it came." So anyway, it's soon to be out. It's on Amazon also. Check it out. And I'll be glad to do a signed version too. So anyway, that was the exciting announcement. It's exciting for me. So let's get started on this mission that we're on here. I'm going to go off camera. Let me cut that off there. There you go. All right. And you've heard all the buzz. We've all heard about Agentforce. We've heard about AI. We've heard about agents using various types of data. Let me know if my sound starts having any issues, okay? So let me see. We've got an open mic somewhere. Whitney, your mic's open. And welcome. Welcome, Whitney. Glad to have you here with us. Hello, hello. All right. So we've heard about the buzz on Agentforce. AI is involved. We are streamlining integrations between MuleSoft and MuleSoft Anypoint Platform and Salesforce orgs. And so all of the buzz is centered around the automation process that's just been released. And that's what you're going to do today. The latest in building from a API specification that automatically populates and tags your API and API catalog and creates your topic for you. And I can't emphasize that enough, but you'll see it more when we're talking about the code. So let's get set up. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a MuleSoft API. It's a reservation API. Very simple, very simple. 2 endpoints. We've got a get reservation by ID and a post reservation. Now, the workshop's not set up to really use the post right now. So we're going to use the get reservation ID. So we're going to go through the life cycle of the API using Anypoint Code Builder. And then we're going to, of course, integrate. Initially, we're going to integrate with Anypoint Platform and Salesforce org that we're going to create. And then we'll be able to utilize these endpoints by way of a topic and also in the API catalog. Okay, so it'll extend that functionality for an agent to use so that when a client is talking to the agent, our API is going to be one of the opportunities or topics that it will be able to use to get data. Okay, so a little history, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, is that, we've had chatbots. We've had chat a long time. We even have copilots, okay, that kind of help you a little bit more. But what makes agents different is they utilize the AI components. It allows us to talk in natural language with that agent that will in turn take what we are saying and interpret it through Atlas, the brain behind the scenes, and tag the different agents to get the data we're asking for. And it's not just wide open. There's also elements that we can put in place by way of our instructions and the scope that we're going to give it. So that's how we can make it be a little more governed. But again, we had the bots, and that's just the preset communication. Autonomous agents are really conversational. They allow us to ask for things. They're dynamic. They're on the fly. So it will, in turn, is that next generation of communication. So what are the attributes? Okay, we're going to give an agent a role. It's going to have something specific that they need to do. We're going to give it data. We're going to open up data. That's where, in our case, our MuleSoft API is going to provide data and that agent can use. It's going to have certain actions. We're going to give it, a job to do. This is your topic. This is your role. This is what you're going to do. And then we're also not going to only tell it what they can do and what they should do, but we're going to tell it what it shouldn't do. Like, don't just give everyone this information. If someone asks for some data, they need, let's validate it, or let's get, a customer ID associated with this, or something of those natures. So when we see the guardrails and we see the instructions that we are going to require, it to have, that is part of the guardrails. And we're also going to provide a channel where they're going to work. So specifically in the area that they're going to be able to be working in. And that's what builds that trust. You know, if I open up data from an API, I want to know that it's only going to be used for the purposes in which I've opened it. So that's what it's all about when we talk about the attributes and what it can and cannot do. So how do we divide that out? So if we say, for example, we're going to define a job that's like an order management. In our case, it's a reservation. But we're going to have a topic, and that's what is going to be defined. And in that topic is going to be specific instructions. That's our guardrails. And then in the actions, we're going to have the actions that it can take and use, maybe a knowledge base, maybe a library, and give it, avenues in which it can and create and act upon the data we give it. So all of this is done in the agent builder. And in the past, here's what is so different going forward is in the past, and we can still do this, we can come in here and we can create a new topic. Okay. And within that topic, we can define what, the details are of this particular topic, what the scope is and the instructions. And so in turn, what we will have is the agent will be interacting with us in a natural language, and it will in turn be communicating with us and replying back the information that we've asked for. Okay, so in the center part, while we're in the testing mode, and we can actually see what actions were used, what instructions were being available for this. And this tells us in detail if it is behaving the way we want it to behave. So based on the instructions that we're given it, is it behaving? So this is where we want to make sure if we've got the guardrails in place or to be certain that it is behaving as it should. So in regards to all of the flow build or the builder, in this case, the agent builder, in the past, and like I said, we can still do this. We can come in and manually create a topic, add all of the details. But what is different now is we're going to automate this from our specification, from our actual code block that we're going to provide for it. And what that code block is going to look like in our case is going to be, here it is. We're going to be creating an API in Anypoint platform. And this is the example of our code block that we're going to use. And we're going to provide the detailed information of the agent, as you see here, of the topic and what it's going to be called, how it's going to be classified, what the scope is, and instructions. Okay, so this will automatically be populated into the topic for the guardrail and the details of what this agent of what this particular topic will do, the hotel room reservation topic. All right, and down below in the code, we've got our endpoint. One of them is a post for reservations. The other one further down is our get reservations by ID. And this is the endpoint in which we're going to use. Okay, so we will use this one. And there are parameters here. You can also see that XSFDC detail, this parameter here, and where it's going to set the user input to true. And again, we would have done this manually within the builder. So now what's happening is all of this is going to be created for us through the configuration of our specification that we provide for it. Now, there are a couple rules about the specification. It has to be OAS. RAML will not provide this. So you will find that this code is OAS. And going forward and utilizing this feature, I can't emphasize enough, you have to use OAS, or Open API Spec, also known as Swagger. So this is the language that we will use to facilitate this. And secondly, you have to use Anypoint Code Builder for it to populate as a topic in Salesforce and part of the API catalog. All right, so there are several things here that you're going to see. So to get us started, let's get us set up. Let's get us set up. And we're going to create a new Salesforce org. Okay. And many of you may have one. I get it. I understand. If you have one, make sure it's one that has the entitlements of Agentforce. Okay. So you're going to go to Salesforce. I'm sorry, developer.salesforce.org. Let me pop this up here for us. Mine's populating my data in, but let me go ahead and give you this URL in the chat. Okay. There you go. And then go ahead and put your information in. You do have to have a unique email address. And once you have completed this, then your next step is going to be that you will receive an email, okay, to acknowledge your that your org is ready and you want to reset your password. So you want to capture your username here, reset the password, and go through the process of resetting your password. And once you have done that, give me, those of you that are hands-on keyboard, give me confirmation in the chat, okay? So we don't have emojis on this platform, so I can't go that route. So just give me a, I got it. You know, once you're done and you're looking at your new Salesforce org, give me some kind of comment in the chat. And you should be looking at this page here. Good to go. Okay, great. Thank you, Jeremy. Glad to have you here with us. Okay, good, good. Give you a little time to get this up. Excellent. Yep, keep those comments coming in so I know you're good. So just allowing just a couple minutes here for this. Excellent. Now this new org, like I said, is fully entitled with all of the AI components and the Agentforce elements as well. You can use the AI in the prompt builders. You can use the AI. It's just, you know, also in Flow to create your, at least a starting point of a Salesforce flow. So it's fully entitled and it will not expire as long as you are interacting with it and logging in every 45 days. So keep it alive. These are very valuable. Okay, we're going to move forward a little bit on this. So once you've got your password set, the next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and activate Einstein and the Agentforce agents inside of this platform. Okay, good. Harish, good, good. I see that. Okay, so we're going to go in here in Salesforce, and we're going to go to Setup in the upper right. Go into Setup. This is the gear icon in the upper right, and go to Setup. Okay. All right, so once we're in Setup, in the quick find, and close down these little pop-ups, they're all helpful, but in the quick find, you're going to type in Einstein. If I can spell it right. And I'm not spelling it right. Okay. Oh, refresh also, just to be on the good side there. Okay, spelling is E-I-N. There you go. Now I'm getting it. S-T-E-I-N. Okay. And if you go past that and go to Einstein setup, it'll filter down. So you want to type in Einstein setup. Einstein setup. And go ahead and click on that option, Einstein setup. And once you're in Einstein setup, we're going to toggle turn on Einstein. Okay, toggle turn on Einstein. So click turn on Einstein. There's other options here. Turn on global language support for prompt builder. And remember, I just mentioned that prompt builder uses the AI components. This will allow you to have multi-language if you want. You can turn it on if you want. So you can have different languages represented. And deployed prompt templates. If you want to turn it on, you can. We don't need it for this, but if you want to, you can. All right. And pretty easy. Now we're going to come back up to the search, the quick find up here, and we're going to do agents. Agents. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. And type in agents. And you should see Agentforce agents. Agentforce agents. And go ahead and click on that. And you'll find a lot of times going from screen to screen for it to like update what we've just done. A refresh is always good. Always go there to refresh and double check. Now under the Agentforce agents to the far right, we're going to turn this one on. Okay, go ahead and turn that on. And in our case, we're going to use the default agent. There is where you can create a new agent, and be sure to do that, experiment with that, because in the Agent Blazer challenges of Agent Blazer Champion and Innovator, you'll create a new agent in one of those. It's really good to see and go through, and there's trails on it also. In our case, we're going to use a default agent. So come down to the bottom area and turn this toggle on. Okay, turn that toggle on. And then you're going to see the Agentforce default agent. And when you see the Agentforce default agent, go ahead and tell me that you see it. I see it. Okay. Put in the chat, I see it. You got it. You're there. Awesome. Good job. See, I'll ask for different comments. That way I know that you're with me. Okay, good. Good, good. Okay, great. So now we have our agent activated. We can go ahead and open it. If you go to the far right, you can either click the hyperlink for it or go to the far right and do the drop down and open in Builder. Open in Builder. So we'll take a look at this real quick. And inside Builder, we'll see this particular agent already has some topics assigned to it. Okay, we can dismiss the pop-ups. So over here, these are defaults. They come in by default of a particular topic. Let's click on the general CRM. Okay, so in the general CRM, we see the name of it. We see the classification or description. There is the scope. Okay, and okay, so your job is to interact and answer questions for the users. There's instructions. Do not declare your intent. These are rules. They're giving them instructions, and quite a few. Okay. Avoid using structured lists. So it's really telling it, basically what you want it to do. So in our case, if we wanted to create, if you go use the back to all items there, and we wanted to add a new topic, we would have to fill all of that out and provide this information. Okay, so this would be, time consuming and thought provoking to make sure that you have all the instructions you need and all the details here. So this is a manual process that you can still do. But in our case, we're going to go to that next gen opportunity of using a specification to populate all of this data. Okay. So the next thing we need to do on our list is we need to create an Anypoint platform trial. Okay, so yes, you may have one. I want you to create a new one. I want you to create a new one. These will expire in 30 days, but I want you to not use a work Anypoint platform. I want you to use a trial account that now have the entitlements that we need to integrate with Salesforce. So go ahead and get an Anypoint platform new trial account as of today, so you have a good month to be working with this. And once you have achieved this, so you go to anypoint.mulesoft.com. So for this one, if you're not familiar, anypoint.mulesoft.com, and you're going to click on sign up. You're going to fill all this out. Make sure you use a unique username, not something you've used in the past, and then create the account. Okay. Once you create it, it's going to, because you put your password here. You don't do the password separately. Okay. You put your password here. So once you do, then it's going to ask you to validate your email. And then you'll go forward into your Anypoint platform account. Okay. And again, this one will expire. This one will expire. So a big part of the Anypoint platform assets being populated into Salesforce are to create an integration relationship between the two platforms. It used to be much more challenging and more detailed and a lot more configurations to do, like the name credentials, the external credentials, the connection between the two, and all this stuff. And now I always want to give a shout out to the automation engineers who have streamlined this in the background. So when you have your Anypoint platform up, I want you to say Muley. Put Muley in the chat so I know you have your Anypoint platform up. And I'm going to step away for just 1 second. I need to take care of just something in less than 30 seconds. I'll be right back. So yeah, keep those Muleys coming. Okay, look at all those Muleys. Awesome, awesome. All right, so now what I want you to do, the best way to approach this is to have your Anypoint platform and your Salesforce org on the same browser. Preferred is Google Chrome. Okay, so have your Anypoint platform and your Salesforce on the same browser. It just makes it a little easier. But here's what we're going to do. We are going to start on the Salesforce side. So if you'll notice, and those of you, if you want, these slides are freely available for you all, especially if you're planning to do a presentation with this. You're welcome to have these. I'll give them to you where you can edit them. So, but I put labels on each one so you would know what platform you're on. Okay. So we're going to start on the Salesforce org, and we're going to go to Anypoint platform setup. And when you click on the view connection information, there is your Salesforce org tenant key. So we're going to copy that on our clipboard. Then we're going to go to Anypoint platform in access management. One step is to accept Einstein. We're going to do that. So if it's a brand new org, you do that one time. If it's a brand new Anypoint platform, we will do that one time. And then we're going to come down to add a Salesforce org. There are going to be multiple, you can have the opportunity of multiple Salesforce orgs to one AnyPoint platform. Okay, multiple Salesforce orgs to one AnyPoint platform. So if they had Marketing Cloud, or they had Health Cloud, or they had, Service Cloud, you could have multiple Salesforce orgs integrated with one AnyPoint platform. Okay, and it only goes that direction. For a given Salesforce org, you can only have one AnyPoint platform connection at this time. I don't know what their future plans are for that. Okay. Then we're going to go forward after that, and we are going to name it. This connection will have a name. I encourage you to use something meaningful, because like in my orgs, on my AnyPoint platforms, I've got multiple users integrating with that, with different Salesforce orgs. So however you need to organize that for your for your organization. So this is just what you're going to name it. And then you'll have a pop-up that will give you the AnyPoint platform key. You'll copy that, and we will go back to Salesforce and add that on the Salesforce connection. All right, so let's go do that. Let's go do that. So here we are in Salesforce, right? We're going to go to Setup. You may already be there. That's fine. Go to Setup. And once in Setup, in the quick find, you're going to type in AnyPoint. AnyPoint. And you're going to see AnyPoint Platform Setup. Go ahead and click that. And it'll take us to the screen. In the center of the screen, you're going to have View Connection Info. Okay, View Connection Info. Go ahead and click that. There's that clipboard. There's your Salesforce org tenant key. Copy that to your clipboard. Okay. And now that it's in your clipboard, you're going to go to AnyPoint Platform. Go to AnyPoint Platform tab. Leave this open, but go to AnyPoint Platform tab. So don't shut that other browser tab down. And now that you're in AnyPoint Platform, come down to Access Management. Come down to Access Management. And on the left-hand panel, you'll see Salesforce. Go ahead and click on Salesforce. Okay. And the first thing I said, you have to enable Einstein, right? So we got to do that first. So click on Accept for Enable Einstein. Accept the terms and conditions and click Accept. Okay, so that part, once you see that you're green, you got a green acknowledgement at the top, then we're going to click on the Add Salesforce Org. Add Salesforce Org. And now you want to paste in that tenant key right there. All right, paste in your tenant key, your Salesforce Org tenant key, and click on Add. Now we're going to name it something meaningful. I always start with SFDC. Does anyone know what SFDC means? Who can tell me what that means? SFDC. Salesforce.com. That's right. Salesforce.com. All right. Good, good. SFDC dash. And then I'm just going to call it the Agentforce workshop. But you can call it whatever you want. It just needs to be meaningful. This is the name of the connection. Okay. All right. And I like to date them because this will expire. But if it wasn't on an org that would expire, I would want to remember when I did this connection, kind of a thing. All right. And so once you have it named, that's just the connection name. Click on Add. Click Add. And now you have another pop-up, and this is where you have your AnyPoint Platform org key, center of the screen there. Copy that. Click on Copy, and go back to your tab that is still open, and paste in the Anypoint Platform org ID. Okay. Anypoint Platform org ID. Paste it in there. All right. So there's your connection, and we're going to click on Connect in the far right. Click on Connect. All right. You should be seeing this screen. Say, yes, I do. Do you see this screen? I don't. Good. Very good. Awesome. You all are so good. Okay. Now we need to enable these guys. All right. So our next step is, we're going to see that screen. We want to enable invocable actions. And we want to enable Einstein in MuleSoft Anypoint. Okay. So we're going to click these on. Then we're going to see that they're toggled on. So that will be good. So this is on the Salesforce org. Now I've got it labeled here for those of you that plan to do this presentation. So this will guide you. We're going to be in Salesforce to do this. Okay, so while in Salesforce, notice you're in Salesforce, let's toggle these on. Okay. And once you've gotten the green banner, all is good, let's go ahead and click on close. So we have completed what we needed to do on the Salesforce side. So this is done. And you can always reopen that and see the status of things. Okay. So we still have some more configuration to do on the Anypoint side. So now we're going to go to the Anypoint side, and we're going to find in our list of connections or Salesforce orgs that we did not allow Salesforce to import our APIs. So we need to go to settings and allow that, and then choose the business group. And then we will see that all of these capabilities of the entitlements have been added. Okay. So back to Anypoint. Back to Anypoint. We can close this window. Go ahead and close this window. Refresh Anypoint. And notice that this do not allow Salesforce org to import APIs is not added. So we want to click on the settings here. So it says you do not allow. So we want to click on the settings here, and we want to say continue. And now it's asking for our business group, and we have one. When we created our Anypoint platform account, there is a root account that's automatically created, and that's what you're seeing here. If you had multiple business groups and you wanted your agent to only be available in a certain business group, this is where you would do it, or any data that you wanted to share was only in a certain business group. This is where you could isolate what ones you wanted and not. Click on Save Settings. And now you should see all of these green. Okay, so in the chat, tell me 3 green. 3 green. Do you have 3 green checks? 3 greens, if yours are good. You might have to refresh your page maybe, but put in the chat 3 green. Okay. You like my little comments? Good. All right. Very good. Very good. Okay. So we're good. Essentially, we can see that everything is now greened up on this side as well. Enhance Anypoint platform. We see Einstein's activated here. We're greened up here. We're good to go. We're good to go. All right. So the integration part is done. Now we're ready to start with Anypoint platform using Code Builder, because you must use Anypoint Code Builder for this automated process to occur for creating our agent topic and the actions and the population to occur into the API catalog. Okay, so let's come to Anypoint platform. Anypoint platform. And we can go to the little hamburger icon in the far left up here and slide out, and you'll see under integrations is Anypoint Code Builder. Anypoint Code Builder. Go ahead and click that. And it says your organization is not authorized. We're going to go ahead and click on terms and conditions. Okay, that means that Anypoint Code Builder has not been authorized to be used here on our new platform. So we're going to go ahead and click on terms and conditions. And what you have to do is you've got to read everything in this. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to read through this. I'm not going to give you time to read it, but we're going to slide. You have to go. Notice we need to accept the terms down here, but it's grayed out. So scroll all the way through it, speed read it. You could copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to give you a summary, but you've got to go all the way down to the bottom before you can click on I accept. Okay, so scan read that, make sure you're approving, and then click on the box and do get access. Get access. Okay, and then you'll see your organization is now authorized. Okay, so there's a couple options here. The option we're going to use for this workshop is using the cloud version of the IDE. Okay, cloud version. There are others, and you can experiment with those later, but the local version of it for your desktop requires some additional configuration, like having Java installed, all that good stuff. And then also there is a Anypoint Code Builder beta. We're not going there. We're going to launch the one that is at the top. That is the cloud version. So click on launch. It's going out right now and preparing our cloud IDE of Anypoint Code Builder that runs over top of Visual Studio. So those of you that are familiar with Visual Studio, it's that platform. Oh no, stop it. This is what happened at the meetup. Wow. This is exactly what happened at the meeting. If that happens to you, do a refresh. Yeah. And we got partway through the demo portion. And then it started working. How is yours? Give me a pass, working or fail. Give me a comment in the chat. Working or fail. Yeah. Look familiar, Finn? This is what we dealt with. Do a refresh. Okay. All right. This is the same thing. Like I said, if this happened, we're going to go ahead and call it. We're going to, I'm going to give you a little preview of where we were headed next. So I'm going to go into demo mode. Keep refreshing. See if yours will finally work. That did happen at the meetup, like probably 15, 20 minutes after this was failing. It did work. But what I'll do is we'll do another session soon to complete this, because I do want you to see the entire process. And those of you that are observing on account of planning to present this at a meetup, we're going to have a game plan here, because this happened to us also. And if you're doing this live, that's going to be a problem. All right. So, yeah, desktop version. But the challenging thing about that, too, is that it had some problems as well. So I don't know. That's a great point. We could go that route with it, too. So just trying to see if it's going to behave one last time. Oh, no. Okay. All right. So let me bring this window down here. All right. So I'm going to go in demo at this point to kind of give you an idea of where we're headed. So let me bring up my account. Oh, is it? Okay. The desktop version, yeah, that's what Ryan did in the class that he is doing right now. He tried to use the desktop version, and it was having issues. It's new. This is new technology, folks. This is how it is when something is new. They've got to iron out a lot of the bugs and stuff like that. And the other thing you could try as well under Anypoint Code Builder is the beta, but this also failed. So I'm not convinced. And I don't know if it's a momentary period of time that it gets down. Let me see what the beta is going to do. Yeah, it's not doing it either. All right. So it will eventually work. That's the weird thing, is that I don't know if it's just overloaded or what the case may be. But let me bring up my other account, because I'll go in demo mode at this point. A few other things to get you set up, though. Let's do this. Okay, so we are going to need to track, and there's going to be some code that I will give you in phase 2 that you may as well go ahead and get now. It can't hurt. So what I want you to do, I'm going to give a URL here in the chat. It's a code share. Okay. And here you go. Here is a code share. So grab that. And this code share is going to be like your cheat sheet or your snippet file. Okay. So what I want you to do is, when you get in here, I want you to copy everything. So select all and copy it. And then I want you to open up whatever you normally like to use for a notepad type of thing. Okay. And paste it in. All right. So this is going to have a lot of information we're going to use in our part 2 segment when the Anypoint Code Builder works. Okay. So first of all, copy all of the details and then save it wherever you want to save this, where you're working. So I've got a folder, and this is going to be my notes. So I have a folder. Go ahead and save your notes. And then later you can come back and put your Anypoint platform account and your Salesforce account, username and password. But this is where we would start to, beyond the username and password stuff, is going to be where we start to actually create the specification that we're stuck. Okay. But at the top of the sheet here too, the top of this notepad is a tiny URL. So I want you to click on that tiny URL. And this tiny URL is going to take you to the instructions. Now, we've done a lot of this because that saves you the time of reading it and going through it and all that. So I brought you down already all the way through this into Anypoint Code Builder. And we're stuck on part 2. So, like I said, but I wanted you to have this so that you can have your information all together here. So yeah, to repeat the last step of what we just did is we copied our information from the, from the Coral Cloud reservations, and the URL, once you copy it into a notepad of some type so that you make this your own, you're going to click on the tiny URL here. Okay. So it's in the snippet files. It's this URL coming in the chat. Okay. And so you'll click on that, and it's going to take you to these instructions. Where we're at in the instructions is part 2. So this is where we're stuck. Go to Anypoint Code Builder and launch it. That ain't happening. Yeah. So let's see if Anypoint Code Builder is going to behave yet. Anybody get any success on refreshing? I'm hoping that it'll behave. Because it's fun. It is so much fun to do this. Nope, it didn't, Genevieve. Wah. Okay. All right. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to give you a demo. And then I'm going to only run for about another, well, however long it takes me to do the demo. But we'll set up another part 2 session when the IDE is working. And then go forward. I'll bring you all forward together because I don't want you to miss out on the hands-on on this. I do not want to do it next Friday because I'm actually in a class next Friday. I'm qualifying for a level 2 class. I'm certified in the level 2, but I've never taught the level 2 classes. So I'm certifying for that. So I'm in class next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'd like to do this sooner than that. If anything, I might, I don't know. I'll get a game plan. Let me think about how we could do that. As long as if this guy is not going to work. Can you tell I hate to give up on anything? I keep giving it one more time. I know, it's frustrating. Okay, so those of you keep trying because once one person's works, I think that the system comes back up or whatever the case may be. Yeah, do let me know, okay? All right, so I'm going to give you a demo. So switching to demo mode now. And let me get logged in over here. Get my credential details for us. So those of you, if you want to take a quick break while I'm transitioning, go for it. Go for it. Take like a 5-minute break because I know we've been going for about an hour. So let me get my my stuff up here. I'm here, but I'm just going to be on mute for a minute while I'm doing all this. So we will get started back at about 5 after. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's working, is it's doing the clone. So once you do create the cloud IDE, you can get back in there to it. And it's normal that it takes a little while. Maybe not this long, but it is normal that it takes a few minutes. So we'll officially get started, or at least we can't do anything until this happens. So we'll have to wait anyway. But I told you 105. It's 105 now. So we'll kind of move forward just a little bit once this is completed. But this being delayed concerns me a little bit too. So there's something going on apparently. Hey, there we go. Look at that. All right. So mine has progressed. Okay. So what you're going to see now is you're going to see things that have already happened, of course, because this one's already completed. Okay. There we go. All right. So this is the intro page for Anypoint Code Builder. And when you first come into this, it's going to tell you to select your theme and that kind of a thing. So you can do all of that. So you can go in and make it appealing to how you want to have yours designed. So part 2, we are going to, start off taking a look at, getting this set up. I'm allowing my runtimes to completely install. So we're going to pretend like we're able to move forward from here. Okay. So we will come in here and we're going to click on Design and API. So that will be the icon here for Design and API. And so FYI, those of you that are doing this and gathering, wanting the slides and everything for a presentation, what I found when it failed is that you can use the slides to talk through it and then get with them later to go through the process. But either way, when you open up Anypoint Code Builder and you click on Design and API, this option to select Enable this API for agent, topic, and action is your key configuration for this to populate as a topic, to use the actions, and also for the API catalog. Okay. As a result of clicking that, this is what has allowed these tags to appear. You don't have to go here. Let me show you something anyway in Exchange, because this one's already been created. Okay. So this guy is already here. And so when I look at the tags, I didn't put those in there manually. I didn't create those 2 tags. They automatically populated as a result of my OAS code. So in Anypoint Code Builder, I would come in, click on Design an API, and there is that option here to click this. Okay. I'm just going to call this test 1. Okay. But do follow, when we're together, you'd follow the instructions, name it with the naming convention. All of that matters. And then project location is defaulted. The API type is defaulted. We are using OAS. We are, in fact, using Open API Spec, formerly known as Swagger. And business group is optional. You'll see that you select it later, and we'll click on Create Project. So it actually comes out here, creates this project for us as an API specification. And as it comes in here, it's going to provide us with the opportunity to start adding code. Now, because I clicked this, now notice what is appearing here by default. Look at that. This XSFDC, all of this is a result of us clicking that box. It's prompting us for what needs to be here. And so it's populated from our code block into the agent topics. Now it's asking me at the top, you'll kind of notice in Anypoint Code Builder, if you haven't used this much at all yet, you're going to have little hidden little pop-ups coming up here and there. And here is where it's now asking me what business group. Now I'm in a different Anypoint platform account, so it's not going to match what I was doing before. So we're going to click on the default business or my root business group. And now it's going to be using that business group for me to be working in. Okay, so I did select the business group at the top. The next thing that we want to do is get that code block from the code share. Okay, so remember we copied the code share into a notepad, and there is a second code share here. So click on that second code share in our notes. And this one is the OAS code. So you would then go and select all, copy that, and that's what we would paste in. So you would remove everything here and paste this in. Okay, and something just happened. I think something didn't. Oh, it copied the wrong thing. It copied lines. Wow, that's weird. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me fix this. So in the code share, that's kind of weird. Copied lines. Let me see if that's going to do that again. All right, now it did it right. Okay, anyone's working yet? Let me know. If it starts to work, come off mute and give a shout out that it worked, okay? If you're trying to refresh occasionally. But once we copy this OAS specification, now you don't have to be an OAS expert. You know, if you just look at the structure, it's going to be intuitive enough to understand what's here. And you can use this as a template to create others by modifying different instructions and scopes and just using this as an outline for what you need. But as we come over here and apply these changes, apply our code to the agent topics, we can then see the details here that are listed in the agent topics. And this is what in turn got populated. I just jumped over to Salesforce, and this is what is populated in my topic in Salesforce. So it's an automated population instead of me having to write all of this myself. So that's the big benefit in utilizing OAS specifications. It does not work with RAML. And in order for it to do the automatic population, you must use Anypoint Code Builder to do this. Okay, so it must be that criteria. Beyond that, then our next step in this mission here that you see in the slides are to go forward and sign into Anypoint platform. And there's the select business group. You saw me do that. Then there's some additional things here that are best practices, like checking the code with a governance rule set that automatically got applied. And then we publish to Exchange from here. Okay, so that's part of part 2. When we publish this to Exchange, we also get a question. Would you like to implement this as well and create it into a Mule application? And we say yes. And then you have a Mule application. And we make some modifications here. So I'm going to just go through the whole rest of the workshop high level at this point. We add some details to our data weave code block here in our transform message. And then once this is, okay, so we then go to API Manager for an API instance ID. And we use that API instance ID to use auto discovery to manage that API. And we have another code block, and that code is in your notes here. There's the transfer message data code. Here is your API auto discovery code here. Okay. And then we publish, or I should say we deploy this to Cloud Hub as an application. And the instructions are here. We get our client ID and client secret of our business group and add that to our runtime manager properties. Okay, and then so this is a basic endpoint type of enforcement for within API manager. And then we update the consumer endpoint. And then that's done. Now, what this part represents, or the point we're at right here, is the conclusion of managing the API. This is standard. Those of us that are in MuleSoft, this is standard. You create a specification. You use that specification in your application as your interface. Then we manage it with API Manager, and we deploy that application to Cloud Hub. This is very standard. This is the life cycle of an API. Okay. Then we switch over to Salesforce, and the coolest thing happens. Because we've integrated Anypoint to Salesforce, we can go to API Catalog and synchronize any APIs that are there. In our case, we'll have the Coral Cloud Reservation API. If you have multiple tagged APIs in your organization, they will all show here. You can choose which ones you want to include or not, and then you configure the connection. So this is all happening on Salesforce at this point. And once you configure that configuration, then you've got to give the permissions of your account to that API, to that connection. And when you create the permissions and go through the process there, then you will see that, then you can activate that action. So the actions in this case will have 2, and they'll be activated. Then this allows us to not only use it in Agentforce as it'll automatically populate it in the asset library. Okay, that is ours. We named it Hotel Room Reservation, that topic, if you recall. That is going to be the name that it was given right here. No, that's not it. I want the topic name, Hotel Room Reservation. Where are you? But it should match with that. It should be here somewhere under the topic. Oh, maybe because I named mine Test. That's why. I'm like, where's the name? Here it is. It should be Hotel Room Reservation. There it did. It picked it up there because mine picked up the name off of the other. But at any rate, that automatically gets populated. And you will see that that information is available as an asset library. So we add it to our agent, remove the defaults, they say, add the hotel room reservation to the topics for that particular, for our agent, our Agentforce agent, and then we can go into testing it and you'll see your valid results come back. Okay. So you could do a natural language, get me the reservation for a reservation ID, and you add the reservation ID, and then you get the data back. So that really is the walkthrough process, but there's so much along the way that we'll learn when we do part 2. So that's what part 2 will be involving. Let's give this one more try. And now it'll work because I've already done the whole explanation. But, you know, that's IT. This is our world. We'll wait for it. Any questions? Any questions? I kind of streamlined through part 2, but we will do it hands-on at another date in the very near future. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why that this is so buggy, because it worked beautifully for me in practice and with another instructor. Her and I went through it. Shivani and I went through it several times. And want to know more about API Catalog? Okay, great question. API Catalog is where once the APIs are all checked into a given Salesforce platform, it makes those APIs readily available to be used in either agents, as you see in Agentforce, or it can also have them be available to be used inside of your flows in Salesforce. Yeah, and it's used in part 2 for sure. And knowing that you're interested in that also, I can pull some additional information because in this particular workshop, we'll go through and, address it and talk about it. But there are clearly more abilities that it has as well, because it'll actually populate in we're showing a Mule API, but it'll also support other types of other APIs from different sources as well. Yeah, so it's pretty helpful. Okay. Yeah. Jeremy, do you want to share anything more about API catalog? You're probably more experienced with it than I would say, because you've been in the ecosystem quite a bit longer. Do you want to share anything about it?
I'm not sure anything that relevant at this point, except because of the speed. It's like a lot of things with Salesforce these days, is because of the speed that it takes to build all this stuff now. It's so much more quicker. You don't have to panic as much about getting started. You can be more methodical, and you can think about the meta knowledge behind it, as it were, and think about, okay, how can I structure this in a way that is scalable and makes sense within a bigger picture. So that's probably the only thing that I would say. So it becomes less about the technology and more about the methodology and how this actually supports a process.
Yeah, what's available, kind of bringing it into sight to be able to use some of that, right? Yeah.
And it never hurts. I'm a big fan of ride-alongs and things like that, and so to spend as much time as possible with end users, so that you work your way backwards from that point, rather than hey, I've got this great API that does this, that, and everything else, and it just elicits a yawn from the people in the front line, because they're like, yeah, well, I mean, that's cool and all, but that doesn't really help me.
Right. How does it benefit me, so to speak? Right.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know Jeremy, he is an instructor with a fellow company that they do quite a bit of Salesforce classes. Integration Quest, we have a lot of our MuleSoft classes. We teach for Salesforce in the MuleSoft space. And we also do, there you are. Awesome, Jeremy. We do a lot of our own classes in the Integration Quest side. Well, Jeremy works with Steve for Stony Point, and they do Salesforce classes. So so thank you, Jeremy, for joining us with this today and your input on the API catalog. Some of the documentation that I'm finding here is using the CLI command line interface on the MuleSoft side for the API catalog. Don't go down that rabbit trail, because they have actually, it's interesting to learn, but for what we're focused on here is the ability of bringing and using the API catalog inside of Salesforce. And yes, that API catalog is going to bring resources into here that will list. I wonder why this one's not synced. Which one? What account am I under? I've got a couple different accounts open here. Let's see what this does. So it'll start to sync, and you'll see nothing here, but I'm not sure what org I'm under. That may have been my other window. Let me see. Let me get back on the right one. But at any rate, it brings in various APIs that are in your catalog that allow you to, I was on the wrong one, that allow you to see other APIs that are available that you can use. And like Jeremy mentioned, it may not necessarily be the protocol or however it was used or that technology, but it's just that it will bring that asset into Salesforce to be used, where you can actually use it. So the API catalog, here we go. Yeah, we use, anyway, in the MuleSoft space, but ultimately any API that's tagged. Oh, good, Genevieve. See, Genevieve's one of the MuleSoft instructors. Genevieve, you're awesome. Thank you. And this may say more on, yeah, there you go. There you go. Very good. Yeah. I love hanging out with smart people and resourceful people. So excellent. There you go. Yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. So, but if I had multiple APIs that had the tag of API catalog, so remember they have to have this tag. Now, if it's an API that was created with RAML or created manually, you could still tag it and it would show up over here in the API catalog. It just wouldn't have that automated part, nor would the topic be automatically populated there as well. So the automation part comes with the Anypoint Code Builder. Yep. Very good. Anyone else? Any other questions? Great question. Any other questions?
Not so much a question, but just a comment, that you're doing yourself a huge favor by making sure that that headline API name is as descriptive as you possibly can make it. Yeah.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that like the, not on here, hold on. I know that the Atlas engine looks at and uses some of that information in determining what its ability is. And right. I'm in the wrong place.
And that's that whole, that meta, your knowledge about your knowledge. That's if you can explain your classification in a way, and of course the good thing these days is we can get AI assistants to help us with describing it in a way that it's going to be clearer to AI. So it's
yes,
it gets very circular.
Yes, good point. So where some of them were saying at first optional, we saw an optional field at first. If I were to create a new topic, watch. Topics, yeah.
Where's your new gone?
I need to go back. Oh, it's active. That's why. Okay. All right. So if I go back and I want to create a new topic and, it says optional, this description really should not be optional because that is describe the job you want this topic to perform. Right. And so if I'm looking at the topics, that is going to be, some of the details that the Atlas engine may be utilizing to figure out, am I going to use this one or not? So at any rate.
I mean, just like a human would, right? I mean, if you're got some sort of procedural manual, how you construct that and order it and the indexing and all of that is going to be important for the human to be able to find the right thing.
Right.
It's just the same sure. with the AI.
Yeah, you imagine you've got like a lineup of different agents, and one is a specialty in this category, another one's got other skill sets. So that's kind of like, as the Atlas engine is going to go, oh, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and so yeah, it's all part of that whole, I guess you could say, assignment.
Yeah, well, it's how the sausage gets made. So
right, yes, this is true. All right, folks. Well, I'm sorry Anypoint Code Builder did not work for me after I bragged on it. because there was private conversation going on behind the scenes about if Anypoint Code Builder was ready yet. And it's more ready than it's ever been. There's some really great things that it can do and will do. And having it locally, but local installation is not always behaving also. So it's a new product, and it has great features. So bear with it. They'll get it. They'll get it working. And I know that, like I said, we finally, I had some people that were, testing during the meetup, and it finally did work like 20, 30 minutes later. So, but once yours does, okay, so here's what I want you to do. Once yours does work, then what I want you to do is to send me an email, okay? Send me a quick email that yours did start. So here, I'm going to put my email address here. And that way I'll get an idea of when everyone's kind of recovered and started working again. And that will also be helpful to know when I can get us scheduled up for part 2. Because once it does that, once it builds it, then mine will come up additional times after that. It's just in this initial provisioning that it's failing. So for whatever reason that's happening, I do not know. But we'll find out.
Diane, I would say if you have previously, in terms of the local Anypoint Code Builder, if you've previously got a successful installation of the Salesforce extensions, then the local extensions for Anypoint Code Builder should work just fine. Like that's what I did. I downloaded them and it worked fine.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. And that's in Anypoint Code Builder, yes?
Yeah.
Visual Studio in the cloud version?
No. What I said is, when you've got your download options there.
Oh, gotcha.
And I just installed the VS Code extension.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
And it went through just fine, but I suspect that's because I have previously wrestled with it to make sure that all of the other Salesforce extensions, because Salesforce has their own extensions for VS Code as well.
Yes, true. Yeah, because I need to double check with Ryan of exactly what problems they were having in Anypoint Code Builder when they tried to do it locally.
Yeah, and, you mentioned the JavaScript runtime. It can if it's not in the path. There's some stupid nitty gritty things that.
Yeah.
But if you know your way around VS Code, they're pretty easy to address. Once you know.
Yeah.
But when you've got a whole room of people and that it gets very. It's why I have white hair.
Yes. Well, one thing that we could do, I'm just thinking out loud, amongst instructors or meetup leaders, because a lot of us are trying to deliver this workshop, is to cut a video of how to have Anypoint Code Builder successfully installed on their desktop before the event. And that way we know that it's already there. Or even if you want to use the cloud version, have it launched previously, because my previous launches are working. It takes a while to bring it up, but it does work. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's a...
it never hurts to have a backup of the backup.
Yeah, I know. And it's always fun when there's a group. But in the IT world, those of us that have ever done that know that things do not work for a demo or even a class sometimes. So, well, thank you all so much for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and call it for the day. Obviously, we're kind of at a good point. We're at a good point. We went an hour and a half, and that's pretty normal for the workshop. So good size recording. But part 2, we'll get part 2 queued up. But like I said, please email me once yours does load. It will. They seem to work eventually. And then I'll know when whoever's on this call anyway, or if you're watching the video and you're having the same issues. I know there's a group of people that are doing that. just shoot me an email anyway. Most of you in that category will know my email, or reach out to me in Slack. And that way we can kind of move forward from there. So I want to thank you all for being here. Let me stop the share, and I'll stop the recording. So thank you all so much. And I'll see you in part 2. I'll send out the notifications.